Welcome. This is Richard Hosnote, and I want to welcome you to the Innovation Best Practices episodes, where every episode is designed to help you sell more and make more from your innovation program using proven and practical innovation best practices that I believe can help virtually any business and any innovation need. Want to give a special welcome to our listeners around the world, today more than 104 countries. Welcome back. We're in a series here where I'm making some free offers to our listeners. The first is a free consulting session with me. You just need to send me an email providing me with some details of how you think I can help you. I try to honor many, if not most, of the requests that I get. Also have a free newsletter that goes out twice a month that has insights that are not available in any of the episodes. There's also an Innovation Best Practices app. It's free for Apple products at the App Store and for Android products at Google Play. There's also lots of free resources. You just need to go to my website, i2ge, that's the letter I, number 2ge.com. So for any of these free offers, like the newsletter and the free consulting session, just send an email to richard@i2ge.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Today we're going to be focusing on what's titled the 4 Innovation Mental Models. It's an interesting look. It's from a Forbes article, but the Forbes article is really pulled from a Gary Hamel book that we've covered in some previous episodes, but did not cover this particular perspective, and I thought it would be very valuable to you, so here we are. So the key points come from Gary Hamel's book, What Matters Now? Other aspects of this book, as I said, were covered in previous episodes. This article summarizes 4 major and very different ways of thinking about how to pursue innovation in an enterprise. These mental models represent very different innovation approaches, with some being much more successful than others. Okay. Mental model number 1, business as usual. It's a traditional approach where innovation is led by brilliant individual managers. Its guiding principles all follow good traditional management, like maximize shareholder value, optimize ROI, and other key financial measures. The process also tends to promote discipline, control alignment, and create predictability, factors that can be good in running a business but are not so good for innovation. The track record for this particular approach is dismal. The track record, while dismal, it sometimes has successful innovation, which often occurs despite the system rather than because of it. They're outliers, they're mavericks. This mental model fails to appreciate the different capabilities and processes needed for innovation to be successful. These capabilities and processes are often very different from those required to successfully run an existing business. And you've heard me say this many times. Mental model number 2, fire all the managers. It's really almost exactly what it says. In this model, you get rid of the managers and colleagues, instead of calling them employees, run and innovate businesses through self-management. Don't stop listening just yet. While this model sounds revolutionary today, in my opinion, it will become increasingly the proven standard of the best way to run and innovate a business. In this book, Hamel highlights a company called Morningstar, the world's largest tomato processor with $700 million in revenues in the innovation program they have, where they've essentially fired all the managers. It's a little bit extreme to say that, but most of them for sure. This model is still a work in progress. If the colleagues are still guided by an even controlled by traditional management thinking, like a bottom line fixation and specific financial controls, then it's likely it will not be much better. The one dimension of firing managers needs to be supplemented with major cultural and value changes, along with adding the ever-present innovation best practices. Interestingly, one of the reasons I'm enthusiastic about this is I've written a book, but it's not published yet. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. It's called The Death of Command and Control Management. It's about how you get rid of essentially dictatorship in running businesses. At least you traditional folks in management think that I'm some sort of revolutionary. I'm not. I mean, I grew up in the Procter & Gamble's and Gallows of the world and understand and appreciate all that. But boy, there's major, major downsides, especially when it comes to innovation with a command and control management style. You would be surprised at the number of very, very successful businesses that are run without anything approaching the management hierarchy that exists in the command and control world. Enough of that, a subject for another day, maybe. Okay. The third mental model is 20% free time. This actually had a lot of currency not too long ago. And this model suggests two different ways. First, a single employee spends 80% of their time running an existing business and 20% of their time innovating that business or some new opportunity. This, quite frankly, is the first one is the most popular version of how this gets translated. A second approach is 80% of employees run the business while 20% are dedicated to innovating the company's business. Probably the most successful company with this particular approach, at least in theory, is 3M. And they used the first approach for many years, and it had one of the most successful innovation programs, and it was hailed and is the reason that this particular 20% free time even exists, I think. Google has a plan to have 20% of employees' time spent on innovation in some of their areas. Some anecdotal evidence suggests that many times the pressing needs of the existing businesses eliminate the 20% of time for innovation. And that's one of the challenges of this. You just can't go to a person who has a full-time job and say, hey, I want you to, take 20% out of your day to go spend time on innovation. Well, that's 20% of the time that's being spent on running an existing business, and who's going to do that? Get more efficient is probably what they say, or delegate or something like that. But that's not so easy. In my opinion, in some companies, this may be an effective starting place. For it to work, there needs to be training on innovation best practices, which are different than running the business best practices. They absolutely are different. Plus, there need to be additional processes and capabilities that you bring to the party for this to work. Mental model number 4, continuous innovation. Apple is a prime example of a company where the entire organization is devoted to continuous innovation and finding new ways of exceeding customer expectations. In this model, profit is a result, not the single most important objective. This is a model that values experimentation. Amazon and Salesforce are two other companies cited by Hamel using at least some portions of this particular approach. And both of those companies have also been very successful, especially with innovation. Amazon sometimes gets my head spinning with the amount of innovation they bring out. And the question sometimes is getting it to stick. But to their credit, things like their line of fire products and everything, they kind of stick with it. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. So mental model number 4 of continuous innovation. In this model, it's not 20% of the time spent on innovation, but essentially 100% of the time, even when you're running a business. While the main objective of innovation in this model is not profit, interestingly, these companies tend to be some of the most profitable. Interesting. Other models often fear internal disruptive innovations or innovations that will cannibalize existing businesses. Oh no, we can't do that. It'll hurt our main profit center business. Well, if you don't do it, someone else will. Do you want to have the business when business goes from product A, which is your core business, to a new product B, or do you want product B to be in the hands of someone else? Wake up. Don't fear internal disruptive innovation and innovations that will cannibalize an existing business. This model of continuous innovation does not fear disruptive or cannibalizing existing businesses. Just think of how the iPhone cannibalized the iPod business. I mean, the iPod business today is a fragment of what it used to be. It still has products, and basically, as best I can see as an outsider, the iPod exists primarily as a super miniature version that can be, used in specialized occasions that maybe an iPhone isn't. When you're out running or exercising or something like that, and it's super miniature version. So the rest of the business has been cannibalized to the iPhone. You can listen to music on an iPhone just fine. Thank you very much in most situations. So don't fear cannibalization. So here's some concluding thoughts. While the continuous innovation model is the best today, in the future it may be supplemented or even surpassed by the fire the managers model when we do some of the things that I talked about earlier. In my time at Gallo, which was more of an innovation follower than a leader, there was a spirit and even demand from Ernest Gallo for continuous improvement. It's the attitude of never being satisfied with today's results. And Ernest was a great advocate for this, and if you ever forgot it, you would be reminded, believe me. Complacency can be a major downside of the business as usual model, and complacency smothers the spirit of innovation. So, some good stuff here. Take a listen. If you'd like more innovation best practices, all you need to do is go to my website, i2ge, that's the letter I, number 2, ge.com. On the left-hand side on the menu bar is the DIY innovation training, do-it-yourself innovation training. Click on it. A whole bunch of training programs will pop up. If there's not one that meets your unique needs, just send me an email. I'll be glad to tailor one for you. Here's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to make you innovation self-sufficient so that you don't need to hire expensive consultants like me or someone else to do it for you. These training programs can do two things. They can save you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and can leave you with an innovation best practices program. So please give them a consideration. Another best practices is one of the 6 books that I've published. It's titled Proven Practical Innovation That Delivers Results. It's available only at Amazon in paperback and Kindle versions. It's priced below my break-even cost, so it's a great value. If you have suggestions, comments, or requests, I love hearing from listeners. Just send an email to richard@i2ge.com. In the next episode, we're going to be talking, I'm going to be sharing with you some major research report results on the future of innovation, with a special emphasis on the Asian and the United States markets. I haven't done this in a long time, and there's some really good stuff here, so give it a listen. As you know, I deeply appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend it with me on these episodes. I look forward to reconnecting with you soon, and until then, please have a great day.